Today's presentation is really, it's our first really attempt to provide more content about the curricular practical training and internship process for you as an undergraduate student, and be proactive thinking about your summer plans and actually what you need to be doing now if you're thinking about doing an internship. Again, my name is Claudia Hart, and I'm the director of the office. We do have the two advisors that you will be working with really closely, Ginger Gonzalez and Angie Garcia, also in the presentation. So any additional questions you have, remember we have walking hours every Monday through Thursday, 9 to 11 and 2 to 4, both virtual and in person. The specific hours are posted on our website, and you can find that information there. Okay, so what is CPT? Let's go through. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if I can do this really quick. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, awesome. So the agenda, what is CPT? CPT eligibility, the process to apply for CPT work authorization, both for the student, and also thinking about like what are the stakeholders in the process, some tips for success, unauthorized work, and some what's really important is deadlines that you need to think about. Okay, what is CPT? CPT stands for Curricular Practical Training. So as you know, as an international student, you require specific work authorization to work off campus. So if you are an undergraduate student, that usually means that you have to have been in the US with an F1 student visa for at least one academic year before you are eligible for any type of off-campus work authorization. And specifically for CPT, or curricular practical training, we're going to talk about the eligibility process. But what I want you to think about, some of the terms that I'm going to use in the presentation is CPT work authorization and internship, which sometimes we use it to refer to the same thing. CPT can be authorized for courses. It needs to be linked to the curriculum. So it's practicum experience. So when you're thinking about work authorization, the one thing you need to remember is that this particular work authorization is not meant to help you with financial needs. So if you're thinking of employment, this is not really the reason why you have that option to apply for CPT. This is driven based on the curriculum requirements. So again, keep that in mind, because many times students have the misconception that because you may want to earn more money, or you just want to have exposure, you can apply for CPT. But in reality, it's like this is very much driven by your curriculum requirements. So in that sense, CPT can be authorized for, if you're an engineering student, engineering co-ops, pay or unpaid internships, experiential learning opportunities, and some externships. But I don't think that's the case for most undergraduate students. All right, next. So I talked about briefly already about CPT eligibility. So a DSO, I know that we use that term, but let me explain who a DSO is. A DSO is a designated school official. So a designated school official is a professional in the international office who has the authorization to grant work authorization for CPT. So we are designated officials given that authority by the Department of Homeland Security. For CPT work authorization, you do not need to apply or send an application to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Office, USCIS. The actual work authorization is granted through our office, and it will be granted on your I-20. So when you're looking at work authorization, it'll show up on your I-20 document. Like I mentioned earlier, in order to apply for CPT work authorization, you have to have been enrolled as an international student, F1 visa for at least one academic year. If you are pursuing IEP or an English as a second language program, you are not eligible to apply for CPT work authorization. And again, CPT authorization is only required when the training is inside the US. So as an international student, anytime you have you're required to do an off-campus activity, and we're going to talk about employment because some of the questions are also like, I'm going to do something off-campus, do I need CPT? So I'll talk about that. But just thinking in terms of anytime you're doing anything off-campus, you always need permission from a DSO or from USCIS directly. Okay. Let's see. Let me go through the slide. Okay, so what is the process? The first thing is to find out if your curriculum has that the curriculum requirement to engage in CPT or to apply for CPT work authorization. So one of the first things that we recommend is that you meet with your academic or faculty advisor to talk about your degree, right? So an example is we have undergraduate students majoring in business. They have a business degree. So if that's your case, I would send you to talk to Barbara Morley in COGS, who then will talk about the curriculum requirements. After you've talked to your academic advisor and you've identified that there is an internship course that counts towards your major, then you enroll for that course. Then the student secures the training position. I would actually say that as soon as you find out that your program has that requirement, that curriculum requirement to engage in practicum experience of campus, that you need to be working really closely with the Hegi Career Center about what those opportunities are. In the process, in the overview that you're seeing is, you meet with your advisor, you confirm that it is a practicum requirement or that usually is reflected in an internship course. You have that job offer or training opportunity, and then you gather all that information so that you can complete that CPT application. And again, the last step is that you have in consideration the deadlines. Going to the next slide, what I want to talk about is something really important, is why are there deadlines? When you apply for CPT work authorization, you're basing off that application on a course. A course in the curriculum it's based on the semester or which can be summer, fall, or spring. So because it's related to the course and the enrollment of the course, CPT deadlines will be also based on the academic calendar days that we have. So thinking in terms of like, okay, when can I start working if I'm eligible for CPT, or when I'm given CPT work authorization, you need to think of the days of that semester for which you've enrolled, right? So if you are enrolling in an internship course for the summer, so your deadlines are going to be, the CPT application process needs to be completed before that summer class begins, because you need to have the work authorization to engage in that practicum experience. The practicum experience is a requirement of the course, so they go hand in hand. So again, when you think of the deadlines, it is very critical that you complete that whole process before you start the class, the course. So in the overview, these are the forms that you will need to be completing. Again, the first is completed by the student. We ask, your biographical information, and also we ask information about employment, like start date, end date, and then we ask that you attach the job offer, because remember, it's not really, even though I'm going to say it's a job offer, it's a practicum experience. So we want to see that there are elements in that job offer of that practicum experience. Then the second part of the form is the academic or faculty advisor, who is basically confirming, yes, that student is pursuing a business degree. Within the business degree, there is a class, Business 4111, that requires that internship component to meet the objectives of the course. So that is why that academic advisor signs off on that form, because we are not experts on all the degrees that are offered at SMU. So we count on their expertise to confirm that there's a relationship. And then the third piece is the employer and university relationship. That usually means that the employer is signing off. We call it a legal agreement, but it's that understanding that the student is an international student that is engaging in that practicum experience at their company for CPT purposes. It also has language about that the student is required to provide the work authorization to them directly. So we are not liable for ensuring that the student has completed all the process, right? It's the student's responsibility to complete the process. So the employer is acknowledging that information in that last piece. If you think about the different steps, the different steps within the application process, you then can understand why there is also deadlines, and why the deadlines are usually days before the semester starts, because we need that time to process all the signatures that have to be in the application, and also for the advisors to actually then, once they have everything, to approve the CPT work authorization in the government database, SIVAS. Again, this is more about what you need to complete as a student. Make sure that you don't miss any of the required information, and you sign off on this form, because this is your application and this is your understanding that you know that you're supposed to only begin work authorization when you are given the actual work authorization, which in this case will be within your I-20 document. Okay, some tips for success is, of course, meeting with your academic advisor as soon as you know you're interested in participating in an internship for to enhance your academic experience, understanding what those requirements are and what your options are. And one of the biggest tips is that we have the probably most wonderful career services office, and there are so many resources, and of course we have someone with a lot of expertise that will share more information, but just make sure that you take advantage of all the services that you can find at Hegi. Okay, just quickly, what is unauthorized work? Unauthorized work is when you have started engaging in these activities, any off-campus activities, without any proper work authorization or any proper, an I-20 with a CPT work authorization from our office or from USCIS. So sometimes that can also mean starting the training component of that internship. So many times, some of the situations we encounter, or we have encountered in the past, is students that, where they didn't wait to get the I-20 and they decided to go to orientation or go to a training for a day or two. That right there would be constituted as unauthorized work, which, if there's anything you remember today, is that unauthorized employment is the most serious violation for an international student, and that really results in a termination of your F1 status, which has other serious ramifications. So please, please, please don't do that. Don't work unauthorized. And if you have questions, come and see us. Okay, so some deadlines for like I mentioned, your application has to be submitted to our office before the semester starts. We actually have those deadlines for the summer posted on our website. One thing to keep in mind is that other offices, like Lyle School of Engineering, for instance, they will have their own deadline as well, because they have to process things also. So sometimes those deadlines are very much earlier than the first day of classes. So if you're thinking of the summer, for instance, I think, and Angie or Ginger, correct me if I'm wrong, Lyle has a deadline of May 7, or something close to that, even though the semester doesn't start until the end of May or the first week of June, because they need that much time to process all of those, the applications on their end. Then they come to our office, and there's a legal agreement. A legal agreement sometimes can take, a few days for the employment to realize that they have to sign a piece, within the application. So you need to be prepared to be submitting that application within the deadlines. Actually, the next page gives us the deadlines. Thank you. So here are some of the deadlines. Again, these are the deadlines to our office, but you also have those deadlines within each of the schools. if you ever have questions about specific deadlines, of course, talk to us, but don't assume that. The one thing that I want to remind you is don't assume that because you've submitted an application to our office that you are authorized to work. Absolutely not. You're only authorized to start working after you have received that I-20, which on page 2 will have the work authorization. The work authorization will actually say, you know, the dates of the employment start and end date, and we'll have the specific name of the employer that you are doing the internship with. So until you have that in your hands, you are not authorized to work. And if you engage in any unauthorized activity, because you assume that you have submitted an application and you will be granted work authorization, that is unauthorized work, and it's always your responsibility to ensure that you have the proper work authorization. So, you know, in the past, we've seen students say, oh, my employer said that I can start working because I file a 9-9. Or my advisor at Lyle or my advisor at Cox said that I can begin working because I've submitted everything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anyone said. What matters is that you did not, or that you may have chosen to begin working before you receive that work authorizations, and that ultimately is all. That's all it matters for the Department of Homeland Security to consider you out of compliance. Okay, before I open the floor, actually what we'll do is we'll hold the questions until the end because I want to make sure that Marshay has enough time to go over the process at Hegi, and then we'll leave about 15 to 20 minutes to answer questions about the CPT application process and anything for regarding the actual interview or how to find an internship. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. This was really good information for me too. I've heard a lot about CPT and OPT and all of the things and meeting with employers. So actually I was like very informed as well. My name is Marshay. I am the Assistant Director for Career Development over in the Hegi Family Career Development Center. So essentially when you sign up for appointments to meet with us to talk about internships, jobs, and all of the things that detail out careers, you would meet with me or one of my colleagues. There's 4 of us as the full-time staff, and then there are some career consultants, which are your peers, and then we have 2 graduate student counseling interns. So there is a good amount of people here that can help you with all details to your career aspects, resumes, cover letters, internship search, talking about offers, all of these things we can help you with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to give you a brief overview, if you've never been to our offices, of the things that are available to you in our office. And then I'll go into some specifics about a job search with Hegi, and things that can help you stand out as an international student looking for internships. There is a point where I'll talk about some recruitment windows. It's not in the presentation, but I do want students to know for internships, for specific internships, there is a good window for recruitment for these. So that you know going forward, if not this year, this summer to get an internship, next summer and thereafter, to kind of help you kind of plan a little bit. But I will see. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen first and then present. All right, so a little bit about our team. As you can see, we are fully staffed. We have an employer relations side and also a career development, particularly every day, but they can meet with some students and talk about different things, especially if you are looking for in certain employers in the Dallas area that you have not been able to see or reach out to. They can help try to get those employers on campus for you. I'm sorry, I have no idea what happened. My computer just tapped out on me.
That's all right.
One more time, let me try that. I have no idea why I did that. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I don't know what was going on. My apologies. So there's two sides of our team. We're a full team staff of employee relations and career development. Also underneath us is the Hunt Scholarship Program. We also have our senior director, Crystal, and our office coordinator, Nita. We also have a marketing specialist under us too. Like I was saying before, the employer relations team don't meet with students. However, if there is a need for an employer or a job industry that you have not seen on SMU campus, we want to help get those industries on campus for you. So emailing them or getting in contact with them about, hey, I'm interested in this employer, can you help me get in contact? They are helpful in that way. And then all of the rest of our team, like I said, does the one-on-one appointments. So we are the all majors career development team, career center on campus. However, we have specific collaborations with certain colleges, especially Meadows, Dedman, and Simmons. So we do a lot of specific programming and things with those colleges and appointments. And then also for those selected business and engineering students, you do know that you are supported by Cox and Lyle in their undergraduate career teams. However, you can also still see us as well. So if you are in Lyle or Cox and they do have career centers, but you're not able to get an appointment, you're more than welcome to come over here and do a drop-in or schedule an appointment with us at any point in time. We support everyone, so it's not just one career center over the other, it's both. You can utilize as much as you need to. So Handshake is where we do most of our events, appointments, and professional development resources. So as you can see, this is a little bit about what's offered. So we do have on-campus employment there if you're looking for right now in the now jobs. The internships, full-time employment, this is where we post our events. Employers that come on our campus, they do post events on Handshake as well. So you can attend employer events as well that are not specifically curated by a career center. We have our one-on-one appointments, and then we have our resources for all of those things in career development. These are the personalized career appointment types. So these are the services that you can look for. Outside of job and internships, we do networking of Handshake and LinkedIn, cover letters, career and field exploration. If you're looking to go to grad school, we do grad school application review and mock interviews for both grad school and jobs. We also can go into job offer negotiations. So if you get an offer and you're trying to figure out, you know, if this makes sense, making sure the connecting factors of your CPT and then employer are all there, we can look over that. And any general topics that you may have or questions about when it thinks about careers, we can help with that in a one-on-one appointment. And you would just schedule that on Handshake. So these are some of the career resources that are posted on Handshake. If you aren't able to schedule an appointment during your busy class schedule, or you can't find the time just in the need that you have for the moment, you can always just log on into any of these resources. These resources are available 24/7, and they can help you kind of do a little bit of that background one-on-one appointments that we do. Like if you're looking for jobs and internships, CareerShip, InterStride, and I'll go over a little bit more about InterStride because it's a really good tool for international students as far as internships and jobs. If you're looking for some micro internships, I like to talk about Parker Dewey, where you can do more project-based as a micro internship versus like a full 6-week internship. They give you about 2 to 4 weeks to do a project, and they pay per project, not just a full role. There's also networking is a really, really good component of SMU, getting connected with the alumni. There's an alumni network, SMU network with alumni networking. Sometimes getting internships can be more of who you know and also of the work you're putting in as applying. So that's an opportunity. But these are just some of the resources available to you at any time. You want to complete your profile on Handshake so that when you are applying, this information is ready and available for recruiters that are on Handshake recruiting students, or when they go back to see who's applied for those things through Handshake. Handshake is a platform for college students. So a lot of recruiters are looking through profiles. So you want to complete your profile by uploading your resume, including a profile picture, which is a really cool, a really quick headshot. We do free headshots in our office. So you can schedule an appointment to get a headshot done with us. So you don't have to worry about finding someone to take it. Filling out all of your work experience. A key factor of doing that would be when you upload your resume, making sure the same experience on your resume is on your profile. And then following employers and jobs that you're interested in. On Handshake, you can look through all of the jobs and employers that we have. We have an SMU collection where you can see specific employers that hire from our school. You can see those who are popular within our community. And then you can kind of save different employers on Handshake. And then, of course, registering for the other workshops and events that we have. Also, if you have any questions, that's our email. If you have generalized questions, or you're more than welcome to just come in to our office on Hughes Triggs. This is what your profile would look like once you get done. I just wanted to give so you know where to go. So if you're looking, once you get logged into Handshake, if you're looking for just some quick things on the left side where you go to find the jobs, if you click Career Center, or at the bottom clicking Career Center, it'll take you to the resources page so that you can find those resources if you need them. Or like I said, come right on in and we'll point you right in the direction that you need to go. These are some of the programs that we hold within our office, and it's open to all students. We do have our Hegi Career Leader programs where we have specified career counseling sessions and targeted the career goals and networking events for selected groups. And then we have our Board Fellows program, which is a program for students to be a non-voting member on a Dallas-based board of directors for nonprofit organizations and such. This kind of gives you insight to those nonprofit worlds if that's something you're interested in, and a more opportunity to network with more Dallas employers and things. And then finally, we've just introduced this to a program for Hegi, is the case competition. A lot of students are going into the business industry, into consulting and things like of that nature, analyst roles. This program is a competition that is set up where students will be able to team up with other students and go head to head to developing a mock business program to get that other experience. For the Board Fellow program and the Hegi Career Leaders, we do have open applications currently, and it's open to all students. We do have some internship programs within in-house, thinking about the internship sector that we are now at. The international student population would be qualified for that DEI internships. The applications are open until the 7th of April. I would say if you haven't landed an internship, you might want to apply with us. They're going to be able to match you with specific industries that you're interested in. And they have made sure that they've cultivated employers that do some CPT. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. There is going to be significant employers that will take that on, and they will let you know which ones those are. We do have the Engage Dallas internship program, and this is more of the community-based, more of the nonprofit sector. Both of these applications are open right now. And then the fellowship within the Office of Chaplain. I'm not sure, I think that that's still open on the 7th, but these two, the DEI internship program and Engage Dallas program, are open currently, taking applications until the 7th. I think if you are looking for an internship this summer and you haven't landed anything, this would be a good opportunity to put your application in. And it's right through our office, which is also paid. So speaking about a job search, internship search, you want to maximize your filters any and every time that you are searching for employment. Whether you're using Handshake or any of the other platforms that are listed, you want to make sure that all of the filters are applied. When we think of what type of role we want to be in, what location we would like to be in, sometimes you can filter out levels, you can filter out industry. In Handshake, like I said, you can do that SMU collections where you can see what's popular within the community or which company hires more of SMU students. There's a lot of different filters you can use. Through Handshake, you can filter CPT and OPT, and you can filter out those who are eligible for sponsorship. And there's full-time and internship things available via Handshake. Interstride is a international student-based job board. It's much like Handshake with Jobs. It is available in our resources. You can filter out between the top 500 to the top 1,000 H-1B employers. You can filter out within the sponsorship within the last year. There's a lot of different informational and training webinars. So let's say that you're going into an industry that you have a little bit of knowledge of, but you want to know more. They host free informational and training webinars on InterStride. It is another one where you can filter out the CPT. So most of the employers on InterStride are looking for international students within the US, employers within the US. So you can filter out, like I said, by location and all these other things. The last thing I wanted to touch on for job search, initial job search, is sometimes it's better to do two things at once. And when I mean two things at once, I mean doing a job search and applying for jobs is the first half. The second half is always networking. SMU is a good community base for networking and getting to know people. Sometimes the more you know, the better your opportunities. And LinkedIn, SMU alum networking, it's company research on LinkedIn. So you can search a company and see if they're the type of company that fosters a good culture for international students. You can see how many international students have worked within this company. On LinkedIn, you can actually see alum that's worked for a company in the actual job posting. And you can filter by industry and company on LinkedIn. And then on SMU's LinkedIn page, you can even search through alum that are working in the industries or getting the skill sets that you're interested in and contacting them. Getting to know alum is going to be another key factor of helping your search, because sometimes they have friends or colleagues that are looking for students to fill certain roles, and you could be one of those students. So networking within your own community or your home base is going to be great. And I've talked to a few alum, they love helping out SMU students in that career path journey. So utilizing your networking as well as doing a job search and applying is going to yield better results. So to stand out, here are a few tips. I think tips to remember to help you stand out and diversify your skills using 3 different methods. First will be your resume. You want to ensure that all of your language skills, including the proficiency levels, are included. So as well as putting your information as far as any background for education and experience. When you think about some of the organizations that you're a part of, or if you think about the different languages that you've learned or that you can utilize, companies are always looking to hire multilingual, bilingual students so that they can expand in certain areas of business that you can help out with. You want to have that on your resume. When you're interviewing, it goes a long way to be confident in telling your story about the background and the details, but emphasizing particular experience, detailing your background, along with any additional certifications. I know we come from several different countries as international students with a lot of different skill sets as well as degrees. Emphasizing that in your experiences when you're on your interview will help you stand out more, because sometimes you're coming from a different background that you've learned a few trainings that they don't teach undergraduates here in the US. So standing out in that way. And then when you're networking, I think that's another tip for standing out, letting them know that you come from a different background, but articulate your interest in your field, being applicable to your educational and work experiences, and then making sure that you attend all in-person events and career fairs. Our career fairs happen twice in the year, once in the fall and once in the spring. We do designate and make sure that our graduate assistant make sure that they go through a list of employers that are CPT, OPT friendly. So you can filter out just by that from a map when we have our career fairs. So there's a lot of opportunity when going through those career fairs to speak with those people in person. You always want to give opportunity. There's some tabling experiences that we have. The better you are at speaking with someone face to face, the better you are at gaining more opportunities. Getting cards, getting email information, that is the best way to stand out. If I can emphasize anything that's most important is if you have several language skills and additional trainings or certifications, those stick out harder than a sore thumb when you're speaking with employers, because that's some areas that they don't necessarily have to train you on, that you add to the role. And then lastly, we have just visit us. If you have questions or you want to deep dive into that search, get to know more about the industry that you're interested in, or looking for specific jobs and roles that help you get to the industry that you want. I mean, specific internships that get you to the industry that you're interested in. Please come and see us. We're in Hughes Trade Suite 126. Email us or just schedule an appointment with one of us on Handshake. We are here to help. Then I guess I will answer any questions anybody has.
That was really a lot of good information, and I had no idea about the diversity internship. Is that on campus, or what is that? Is that just like they help you partner with other companies?
So that is throughout the Dallas community. So the
Oh, wow.
it's
Okay.
going to be Dallas based. All of the internships from our DEI program is going to be Dallas based. So I don't think there's not any on campus, but this will be all
Okay.
like in the local Dallas community. Downtown, I know that there's some just thinking about some of the last year, there's some publication offices that have offered internships, some investment firms and things like that. It's all going to be within the Dallas Metroplex.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, that was like great information for us too. So I want to open now the floor. I know we have a few students for questions that you have. I know somebody posted a question about if you have to have a specific company. And so what I answered in the chat was, I mean, obviously you can apply to several companies, but to actually apply for CPT, you do need to have the job offer ready. So but I think that the nice thing about the resources that you have is that you should be applying and exploring different companies and apply to to different opportunities. So but to answer the question is you do need to have the job offer. Valentina, did you have another question?
Yes, I have
Go ahead.
one. That is, I already have a company, but I have to say them that it's a job offer, or just to give a job offer and that's it, because I read in the webpage of the CPT that said there are specific companies that apply for the CPT. Do you know what I mean, or I'm confused about this information?
Yeah, no, if you already have a job offer, that's what you need. Now, of course, the biggest piece that you need to confirm is if that job offer, the content of the practicum experience is going to meet the objectives of the internship course. So, and you can come and ask us later if you have more specific questions, but you now have a job offer which you can take now to your academic advisors, because now you need to talk about, okay, what is that internship course that you need to enroll in, and hopefully what you'll be doing in that internship will meet the objectives of that course. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. I'll go to the office
Okay.
to make more specific questions. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Any other questions?
I see there are some.
Yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead. Go ahead, Linda.
So, one main question is, how do I travel out of the US while on CPT? Because I already have a job offer for internship from a company, and probably in mid-July, I have to go on a tour with my professor on some other project out of US. So, how is the process about going out of country while on CPT?
I mean, you need to make sure you have your F1 visa stamp. Obviously, that needs to be still valid. You need to have your I-20 with the CPT work authorization, and you need to have a travel signature on your I-20. So I would assume that, if you're doing if you have a CPT work authorization for the duration of the summer and you're going for a couple of weeks or whatever, then that's, that there shouldn't be any problems leaving to do that. Some internships are only 4 weeks, some internships are only, or 6 weeks. So traveling is not necessarily prohibited. But obviously what I would say is that let's say you have an internship for 6 weeks and you're traveling for 6 weeks. Well, then that would be questionable, right? Because then how are you actually then meeting the objectives of that practicum experience if you're not in the country? But in general, traveling for a week within the summer term shouldn't be a problem as long as you have what I mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Another question is, in the email that we received yesterday from someone, I don't remember, but they said you have to finish your deadlines by August 9th or something, or else you'll be getting an incomplete grade in the course that we're going to be registered for. So is that necessary, or can you extend beyond August 9th as well?
I'm not sure what email you got, but what I'm going to say is that, again, the CPT practicum experience has to be a component of that course that you are enrolled in. That's the whole reason why you have the work authorization in the first place, right? So your practicum experience should be done by the end of that semester. So if it's the summer term, say the summer term last day is, I'm just going to use a random date, August 1st. Just like any other classes, by the time you're taking your finals, you have to have met the academic objectives of that course. Same thing goes for that internship course. You should be done by the last day of that term. And so in some cases, when students, which again, I'm not going to expand too much on it, but in some cases, a student is not able to meet the objectives of that practicum experience and meet the objectives of the academic course. And just like any other course, they may need an incomplete. You will go through that process. But in general, remember, the work authorization dates are going to be within that semester, and you're required to meet all the objectives within those dates.
Okay.
Claudia,
Thank you.
I think
Yes.
that email was sent to Lyle graduate students. So Encanto, you would need to speak with your Lyle career people about the incompletes and their requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a question in the chat from Linda. As international students, getting work experience here in the U.S. is super beneficial, especially for getting a job. Yep. But as a graduate student, we don't often need an internship. Okay. How can we know that the internship is connected to the curricular or a class so we can communicate that to our advisors? That's a good question. I don't know that I would know or give you the answer that you're looking for, but basically, again, it's all CPT work authorization is based on the curriculum requirements. So as a PhD student, what we see normally is that when the students are in the dissertation phase of their PhD, and to complete dissertation requirements. So I'm going to use my example. I'm a doctoral student. I'm doing a dissertation. And in order to do a dissertation, I have to engage in off-campus activities. I couldn't finish my dissertation without me engaging in those off-campus activities, right? That would be an example of how a PhD student can apply for CPT work authorization. So normally that's when we see those applications taking place, is when the PhD students have moved to the dissertation phase where they're required as part of the dissertation to engage in off-campus experience to complete those requirements. Other questions?
There is another one from Masood. He asked, as a PhD student, how many times during my program can I attend CPT, or can I do CPT?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this for everyone, not just for PhD students. So as long as your curriculum has requirements, so let me use an example of a business undergraduate student. There are up to 3 different internship courses that the student can take that are part of their major. Because it is part of the major and the major requirements, that student could apply, 3 different times in 3 different semesters. Now then, one thing that everyone needs to keep in mind is that if you exceed more than 12 months of full-time CPT, by the way, when you are doing a CPT in the summer, you can work more than 20 hours a week. And when you are engaging in a CPT or an internship during the fall or the spring semester, then you're limited to 20 hours a week. So a student that potentially works under CPT for 12 months or more, then they lose the eligibility to they lose eligibility or criteria to apply for post-completion practical training. Now remember, there is curricular practical training, and this is what we're talking about, and there is the post-completion practical training, optional practical training. So a student that exceeds 12 months of full-time CPT will then lose their eligibility to apply for OPT. So answering the question specifically, how many times, it depends on the curriculum requirements of that student's degree. But keep in mind that if you were actually required to do it multiple times, then you do need to consider that if you're doing it full-time for more than 12 months, and you're going to lose your ability to apply for OPT. We have about 7 minutes, so we can answer 1 or 2 more questions. I don't see any other questions, but maybe Angie and Ginger, what are some common questions that you see that may be helpful since we're recording this presentation?
My job wants me to start a week before the semester starts. Can I do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great question. So there are deadlines posted on the website. There is a little bit of flexibility regarding starting a little sooner than the semester start date. And I'm not looking at the website, but if one of you want to look at the website, I think we say the Monday before the semester starts. I think that's the earliest that you can start. Again, I say that with a disclaimer of you have to have your work authorization in hand, and we need to know why do you need to start, earlier than the semester. But again, my answers are always going to be, does the course require all the students in the internship to start early? Meaning it cannot be just for one student, right? If we're treating this as a course requirement because it's based on the curriculum, I can see, for instance, a sports management degree, and the internship, actually every student in that program is required to start that training. And some of the days they're going to require them to start sooner than the semester, but they're still justified because it's not part of the curriculum requirements. So in that scenario, we would authorize it. But of course, if you have specific questions, let us know. But that's a great question.
Claudia, there's a follow-up question from Linda in the chat.
Yes, the answer is yes. Linda asked if you have to register for summer for that course that require the CPT, and that yes, so you do have to enroll, and yes, you do have to pay tuition. Yes, because again, it's all curriculum based. So the answer, Masood, is no. If you're just doing 3 months of full-time CPT, that is not going to affect your eligibility to apply for OPT. How long is travel or a travel endorsement valid for? I heard it's generally 6 months or a trip. No, it's just, we recommend that you get one for 6 months. It's actually good for up to a year, but what happens is sometimes, just to be safe, sometimes we say, get it at least within a 6-month time frame. But officially it's good for 1 year, the travel endorsement. Yeah, good. Angie also expanded us, like the class that you enroll for, the internship, it has to be 4 credit, because again, right, like the whole purpose of CPT work authorization is that it's truly part of the curriculum to enhance your academic experience. So it wouldn't make any sense to have a random 0 credit hour class that requires a practicum experience, because then I would ask, and what is the value for that? What is the academic requirement? All the other courses have at least 1 credit hour. So all of our internship courses are either 1 to 3 credit hours. Which then another question that we get is, if you apply for CPT for the fall or spring semester, then you still have to be a full-time student, right? So if you are an undergraduate student that has to take at least 12 credit hours, you know, keep in mind that that CPT course, that's the internship course, can be 1 to 3 credit hours. That will count towards your full-time enrollment of at least 12 credit hours. But all the CPT, all the internship courses are at least 1 credit hour. We have time for one more question. If anyone has another question, you can put it on the chat. What I would say, again, the biggest piece of advice is take advantage of our wonderful Hegi Career Center. I learned a lot of good stuff today, and we are not the experts, right? In our office, the ISSS office, we're here to make connections with the right people at SMU to help you in that journey. We want you to take advantage of this benefit because research shows, right? If you have that internship experience before you graduate, most likely you will have an opportunity to engage in a work setting so that you can take advantage of your post-completion practical training work authorization that you are also eligible to apply as an international student. There are workshops, by the way, for OPT that our advisors host. So we encourage you to attend the OPT workshops, even though you may not be graduating, 2 years from now. It is really useful to consider what takes place in that process. But the biggest thing, work with our experts. I mean, you have a whole center with professionals helping you with your resume, helping you with interviewing skills. Certainly, I can give you my advice, but you have experts that can walk you through what employers are asking you and how to best, highlight your uniqueness as an international student. Many times we get the questions that we get is like, why would they want to hire us? We require specific work authorization, and we require a legal agreement, and we, all these things. And my answer is like, you bring so much to the employer setting, right? You bring culture, you bring language skills, you bring cultural background that other candidates don't. So how do you do that? How do you explain why they should pick you? Those are the things that you will learn in the workshops that Hegi offers. And so take advantage of that, and take advantage of that soon enough so that you can apply and can still get that work authorization in time. The last thing I would say is that we work really, really hard to process all the requests as soon as we get them, but we have a lot of students, and so we would never want to be in a situation where we have to say, I'm sorry, it's past the deadline, because you didn't do what you needed to do. So Marshay, you had a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add to that we recently had, for undergraduate purposes, we recently had a recruiter panel where recruiters are saying they are looking for international students and also students who have at least completed one internship before they apply for full-time jobs. So it is imperative that you intern, and doesn't matter where and when, as long as it meets the requirement for your CPT and that you have that working for you, you can get hired and you can move on to more skill sets if you're going to stay within the US or go back home. It's imperative to kind of get those experiences now. And companies are always looking a way to diversify themselves from other competitors and other companies within the industry. So being an international student, you've already held them to that one step.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you. That's so true. Okay, well, like I said, this presentation is being recorded. We're gonna post it on our website. We will have another workshop sometime because I don't keep up with the dates in my head. So I apologize, but you'll be getting an email or posted in social media. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Marshay, for your expertise and for helping us. And this is really good information. So guys, if you have any other questions, you know how to reach us, and we will see you soon. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye everyone.